Sharanandana Brajachannadanshana Yashanandana Brajachannadanshana Chamanatira Padachari Chamuna Tira Padachari Jaya Radha Madhavam Kancha Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Śrīmad Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Brahman Sarai Vijakashaya Sutta Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the awesome devotees. All glories to the awesome devotees. All glories to the awesome devotees. Glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Mukam karati vachalam bhangam langkate girim yakikam tuham vande sikurum tinatarinam Om Ganatimirandasya Gananja Shavakaya Chakshiminitam Yena Tasamai Sikurave. I'd like to welcome you to the third and the last class of our seminar on prayers of Prahlada Maharaj. Prayers of Prahlada Maharaj. So yesterday we did from verse 22 to 36, so you can look at your outline on the first page. We discussed why should we surrender to Krishna. And yesterday we heard that we're being crushed by time. And we also heard everything is finished in a second. It's all temporary here. And these are reasons why to surrender. How to surrender, become servant of the servant. And 25, there's no happiness here. And that's another reason why we should surrender to Krishna so we can get eternal happiness. And the last reason we should surrender, we will get causeless mercy, very special mercy from Krishna if we surrender to him. And then 27, the level of our service determines how much mercy we'll get. And then we discuss why it's better to be servant of a servant than to directly serve the Supreme Lord. And we came off many reasons. Is devotees more merciful than Krishna. And you get lots of mercy from the whole parampara. And Krishna is more pleased when you serve his devotee than he is when you serve himself. And Krishna upholds the devotee's words. The words must come true, whatever a devotee says. And then we heard about the creation, verses 30, 36, how the Lord is here before the seed of a tree. When you plant the seed, you don't see, and the tree comes out, you don't see the seed anymore. So Krishna's like the seed, and now this whole world has come out, but you don't see Krishna anymore. He's disappeared. He's covered. And then Yoga Nidra and creation we heard about, and how Brahma, after doing austerity for 100 years of his time, then he could get darshan of the Lord. So we're going to start verse 37. You don't have it. And we're going to talk about some incarnations from 37 to 40, 37 to 38, actually. And so 37, Prahlada is glorifying the Lord's incarnation as Hayagriva, who came in the beginning of creation to protect the Vedas, who were taken away by Madhu and Kaitav, two demons. So he took the Vedas away from the demons and gave them back to Lord Brahma. In the purport of that verse, Srila Prabhupada says that we read Bhagavatam and Gita, these two literature, we will get all Vedic knowledge, and we can revive our Krishna consciousness. So now I'd like you to go to your verse sheet on the second page of your verses. We're going to say a verse together. Which should be the third verse on your verse sheet on page 2. You can take, if you need one, you can take more. We have plenty. Oh, you have? Okay. So 7, 9, 38 on your verse sheet. Itam nitya rishideva shashavatare. Nitam nitya rishideva shashavatare. Lokan vibha vayasihang si jagat pratipan. Lokan vibha vayasihang si jagat pratipan. Dharmam maha purusapasi yuganavritam. Dharma maha purushipasa yuganavritam. Channa kalayadapavasti yuga tasatvam. Channa kalayadapavasti yuga tasatvam. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations as a human being, an animal, a great saint, a demigod, a fish, or a tortoise, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demonic principles. According to the age, my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, however, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore you are known as Tri-Yuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. So Lord Vishnu came to protect Brahma. Shingadev came to protect Prahlada Maharaj. Now, who came to protect us? Lord Chaitanya, very good. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came for us. He's here for us. So we're very fortunate. Now, this verse says, it talks about different incarnations in different species. So you appear as a human being. So as a human being, who were the incarnations of the Lord as a human being? Ram. Who else? Krishna. Who else? Balaram. Yeah, very good. You got them all. There's a few more when Lord Rama came also, and with Lord Krishna also. Okay, so as a human being, how about an animal? Matsya, that's a fish. He's a fish. Who? Varaha, correct. As an animal, Varaha. As a great saint. There could be many of those, but Kapila, yeah, whoever said Kapila. Kapila is a great saint. Who else? Well, Chaitanya, we already, yeah, well, he's he's more than a saint. He's Krishna. Oh, yeah, Vyasadeva, very good. Vyasadeva, okay. Oh, Buddha, okay. Yeah, he's a great saint also. Very good, very good. Okay, so we got, a demigod. Who's the demigod? This one you should know very easily. Who? Dandre. Oh, that's a good one. And there's another one who is very famous demigod, looking as a demigod. No, he's not a demigod. Okay, I'll give you a hint. We're hearing about him every day if you go to Bhagavatam class. Vamanadev. He's a demigod, brother of Indra. He's a demigod, actually. Vamanadev, yes. We should not forget him. Fish we got, and tortoise, Kurma. So he comes, actually, in one purport, Prabhupada says, in all the 8,400,000 species, he comes. So we have devotees, they're also incarnation, like Hanuman, he's an incarnation in the monkeys, Gajendra in the elephants, and we got the squirrel, they say it's the squirrel of Lord Ram, or it might be something else, a spider, I don't know. They say different stories over there. So yeah, we have incarnations in the different species. And so yes, we are very fortunate we got Lord Chaitanya, most merciful one, because when Krishna said, he ordered everyone, surrender to me. And Prabhupada said, well, people will say, why should I surrender? Why is he telling me? The Lord Chaitanya, he came as Lord Chaitanya to show why and how to surrender to Krishna. Okay.
If the Lord incarnates in all the species, does it mean He will also incarnate in the form of trees or even germs, for example?
Germs and trees. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. We had actually, Tulsi would be an incarnation. Shakti-Vesh, she could be called an incarnation of Krishna in the form of tree. And Krishna says in Gita, I am the holy fig tree, the banyan tree. These are incarnations. Welcome, welcome. These are incarnations of Krishna in the tree form. Now, a very interesting thing to know is in Chaitanya Leela, Madhavendra Puri is an incarnation of a desire tree from Goloka. So isn't that interesting? And he started the whole sampradaya, desire tree. He's a desire tree. Now, the desire trees in Goloka are not like the trees over here. You can get from the desire trees, you can get any fruit, any flower, doesn't matter the season, anything you want, even samosas, kachoris, and rasgullas from the desire tree, and furniture and clothes and anything, whatever you want, you can get from the desire trees. And not only that, they can dance also. The desire trees in Goloka can also dance. They can dance for Krishna. It's not, you can't, when you think of a tree here, it's not the same as the desire trees in Goloka Vrindavan. Right, okay, so trees, yes, very good question. Yes, Tulsi Devi, we could say, is an incarnation. The devotees are also incarnations of Krishna, the pure devotees. They are incarnation. Like we accept Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as Shakti-Vesh avatar, he is. And Prabhupada accepted Jesus also as Shakti-Vesh avatar, Buddha. So, yes. Now, verse 39, you don't have it. It's about humility again. He's going to start a new round of prayers, all begging for mercy and compassion of the Lord. And so, verse 39, he says, My dear Lord of the Vaikuntha planets, where there is no anxiety, my mind is extremely sinful and lusty, being sometimes so-called happy and sometimes so-called distressed. My mind is full of lamentation and fear. It always seeks more and more money. Thus, it has become most polluted and is never satisfied in topics concerning you. I therefore am most fallen and poor. In such status of life, how shall I be able to discuss your activities? So he's feeling very humble again. He started his prayers with humility again. He is having a humble mind, state of mind, because, come in, welcome, come in, a humble state of mind, because, he's going to start a whole new topic, and that's going to be begging for mercy, Yeah, and you can take one paper if you like. Oh, you're the flower maker? Oh, going to the flower making shop? Okay. Yeah, got the wrong room. No problem, but welcome anyway. So yes, so here, Lord of the Vaikuntha, where there is no anxiety, Srila Prabhupada said, here, everyone is full of anxiety. So many anxieties are here. And Srila Prabhupada said a very interesting thing, that people here, they want anxiety. They think it spices up life. They think it's the spice of life. And so much they want, they put themselves in anxiety, and then they become the hero by coming out of the anxiety. They put some very difficult task in front of them, and then they become the big hero. Oh yes, I conquered this. So yes, when Prabhupada got a letter, yeah, we didn't, I don't know, how did we communicate? We didn't have phones. In the days of Prabhupada, phones didn't work, mostly. Maybe in America they did, not in India. You couldn't call foreign, you couldn't call cross countries. Even when I was in Calcutta, I would have to try 10 times before I could get a number in Calcutta itself. The phones were not good. So somehow they communicated from Toronto, Canada to Prabhupada, probably by letter, by mail. Snail mail, they call it now. That's all we had then. We found a beautiful big church which we would like to buy and make a temple. But it's very expensive. We really can't afford it. So Srila Prabhupada said, don't purchase anxiety. Then he went to Canada, Toronto. And the devotee said, would you like to see the church? The Prabhupada went in the church and he said, oh, this is beautiful. Purchase it immediately. They said, but Prabhupada, you said, don't purchase anxiety. And Prabhupada said, there must be anxiety for spiritual life. He would say one time one thing, and then the opposite he can say another time. So yes, anxiety for spiritual life is good, but not for material life. So 40, he's telling, I have a problem with my senses. We heard yesterday how the senses are like snakes that can bite us any time. Now in this verse, Prahlada says that the senses are like having 5 wives. One is pulling this way, one is pulling that way, one is pulling that way. So now you're not allowed to do that. You just take one after the other. You don't have them all at the same time. But that's how the senses are like our wives, that they pull us this way and that. And so what to do, of course, we have to let Krishna control our senses. That we eat Krishna prasadam and we smell the incense offered to Krishna. So Prabhupada recommends deity worship to control the senses. Welcome. You can take a paper here if you need to. So, yes, now in 41, now he's starting to beg mercy for everyone. Begging mercy for everyone. He says, oh my Lord, you're transcendently situated on the other side of the river of death. So there is a river of death. Maybe you don't know about it, but there is such a thing. And if you are on the bad side, you'll experience that river. So we are suffering on this side. So please look upon us and give us mercy and compassion. So yes, he's praying for mercy for everyone in this world. And then in verse 42, mercy for devotees, he says, oh my Lord, what is the difficulty for you to deliver all the fallen souls engaged in your devotional service? You're the friend of all suffering humanity, so you should show us mercy. So this is a prayer of Prahlada Maharaj. He wants mercy for us who are serving him and for everyone. And Srila Prabhupada also, when he arrived in Boston, he was looking at everyone and thinking, my God, this is a hopeless task. I don't know how these people are going to get delivered. If I tell them the 4 regular principles, they'll tell me, go home, go back home. So he was thinking like that. So he wrote a poem, and he said, but it's possible, Krishna, if you can do it if you want. But then Prabhupada said one very important thing. And he said, I desire that they all be delivered. So now Krishna's in trouble because the devotee had a desire. Now he has to fulfill that desire, and that's why we're all here today, because Prabhupada desired us to be delivered and go back to Godhead. That is Prabhupada's desire. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Jai. Would you like a paper? Are you part of the family? Same family. Okay. Jai. So yes, it's Prabhupada's desire, and that's why we are here. And the next 2 verses you go to your verse page 2, and verse 7, 943, a very famous verse, often quoted by Srila Prabhupada, 42 and 43. So I'll sing one line. You repeat after me. Naiva dije paradratya vaitaranyas. Naiva dije paradratya vaitaranyas. Tvad viryagaya namaham mitama nachita. Tvad viryagaya namaham mitama nachita. Shauche tatavi mukache dasa indriyartha. Shauche tatavi mukache dasa indriyata maya sukhaya paramavahata vimohan. Ya sukhaya paramavahata vimohan. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their family, societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. So the first thing Prahlada says, Maya Sukhaya Param. He says, Maya Sukhaya, the happiness from Maya, is Param. It's a burden. How can that be a burden? Why can he say, why does he say the happiness of material life is a burden? Can anybody have an idea? Why does Prahlada say, why is it a burden? Anybody experienced that burden of material happiness? You have experienced. Yes. So how is it, why would we say material happiness is a burden? Okay, it keeps you away from Krishna. Any other? Yes? You work very hard, and there's nothing coming back. It's temporary, yeah. Yeah, what do people do on their days off? They drink, they sleep. Oh, more sleep, yes. Now I can sleep in. They're more sleeping, more drinking, drugs, whatever, to make them forget the misery of working the whole week. Yeah, any other reasons why is material happiness? Yeah? It's entanglement. Yeah, you get entangled. Yeah, he agrees. Very young. That's addictive. Material happiness is addictive. Yes, I mean, there's one class is drug addicts. Another class, there's people who are addicted to coffee, like my son. He just, they can't live without it. Of course, they get withdrawal symptoms. They get headaches, and he thinks, oh, I get a headache because I don't have my coffee. That's why. But no, it's because you're trying to give it up. And cell phones, of course, are probably the most addictive things. You can start at the age you can start at the age of 1 with the cell phones to become addicted. I've seen it. And it's addictive. Any other reason why? Yes? You forget Krishna. Makes us. No, I forget that it's a miserable place. Yes? Stimulating the senses in the mind in the wrong way. To go away from Krishna and to go after the temporary happiness. And there's no real happiness there. Good. So it's a burden. Any other reasons why? Yes? It's against our nature, yeah. It's against our nature to enjoy spiritually. We are meant for spiritual enjoyment, not material enjoyment. It's not we're not meant for enjoyment. We are meant to enjoy spiritually. And so this takes us away from our real nature. And then we have to suffer more time here in the prison of material world. So I can tell you a story about my son when he was 10 years old with his friend Sudama. They were in my house in Vrindavan. There was this really big ant. Had a huge piece of food, but it couldn't walk straight. It was going around in circles like this, because it couldn't walk. So they were observing this ant, my son, 10 years old, and his friend, and they said, let's help that ant. So they took the big piece of food away, and the ant walked straight. And so people in this world, they have the burden, and they're going around in circles. And so sometimes Krishna helps by taking away the burden of this material world. Yes. And so compassion for fools. Yes. So they are vimudhan, they don't like Krishna, they don't care for Krishna, and that's why they are suffering. Because without Krishna, you can't be happy. Without Krishna. Only if you're with Krishna, then you can be happy. And so Prabhupada said, therefore, we have to become dog of a Vaishnava. Prabhupada's dog. Because why? Because Prabhupada said devotee can say to Krishna, he can demand, I'll take him with me, please excuse him. So Krishna has to say, all right, you take him with you. And that's what Prahlada wants to do. He wants to take everyone with him back to Godhead. So Prabhupada comments in a lecture, for centuries there was no temple in Europe and America, and now there's hundreds and thousands of temples. When Prabhupada was here, it was maybe, a little under 100. He said there's hundreds and thousands, so I guess he was seeing the future of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes he would make statements like that. So it will increase. You can't stop Krishna's glories. So if you work very sincerely to spread his message, Gita, there cannot be any check. So now we'll go to verse 44. Oh, it's 43 and 44. It's on your verse sheet, the last verse on your sheet, 7-9-44. Prayena deva munaya svavimukti kama. Prayena deva munaya svavimukti kama. Mana charanti vichanena paratanishta. Mana charanti vichanena paratanishta. Naitam vihaya kripana vivamukshayeko. Naitam vihaya kripana vivamukshayeko. Nanyam tad asya shavanam pramatana pasye. Nanyam tad asya shavanam pramatana pasye. My dear Lord Shingadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they're interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Maunavrat. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. And so the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that every member of the Krishna conscious movement is interested in going door to door to try to convince people about the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. So any of you have gone door to door? Anybody here? You have. 3 have. Oh, you all have. Wow, very good. Yes, it's Prabhupada wanted that. There's another religious group, I think it's Jehovah's Witness, and every month they have to do a certain amount of hours door to door. Everyone in their church has to do it. So Prabhupada, he wanted that also of us. Try to convince people about the teachings of Krishna consciousness. So one of the people from, Brisbane, Tirtharaj, he used to be in charge of the Brisbane temple. Now, he left that, and now he's been preaching in China. So in China, you can't really talk about Krishna. You have to be underground. So one time he went to a Buddhist monastery, and there was kirtan going on. He was in the audience, and there were devotees who were doing kirtan on the stage. So one Buddhist monk sat next to him in the audience, and so the monk was very inquisitive. He pointed to his sika and said, "What's that?" And so Tirtharaj said, "Oh, that shows that I'm a servant of the Supreme." He couldn't really say Krishna. And so then he said, "So, okay, what's your philosophy?" And so then he said, yes, we want to understand the supreme absolute truth. He said, "So, what do you do?" the Buddhist monk asked. And he said, "We go town to town, village to village, to spread this philosophy." So then the monk said, "Oh, you are higher than we are, because we are afraid to go out and associate with these materialistic people." And so, he understood. A devotee is higher than the impersonalists, Mayavadis, Babajis. They don't want to go out and preach. They don't go out. And so Prabhupada was preaching defeating these impersonalists. That no, you must go out and help others. Prahlada said, I don't want to go back alone. I want to take everyone with me. So that's the mood of Prabhupada, the mood of the devotee. So, I'd like to tell you a story from Indraduna Maharaj again. He was preaching in one country called Paraguay in South America. It was the first time he went there. So he was on the plane and he was reading on his computer what the U.S. government said about this country. And he said, he was reading, U.S. citizens should avoid large gatherings or any event where crowds are to demonstrate or protest. If you encounter roadblocks, don't continue your travel. So Maharaj said, okay, avoid roadblocks. Then organizations providing financial support to extremist groups operate in Ciudad del Este, where he was going. And several high-profile kidnappings for ransom have occurred. Maharaj said, avoid kidnappings. So then, armed robberies, car thefts, home invasions are common. Street crime and mugging during the evening hours in the vicinity of hotels and airports. Better be careful when I land, he said. So then, anyway, no reason to be discouraged. Experience has shown such places often present the best opportunities for preaching. So he fell asleep and woke up after 45 minutes and the flight was landing. And he grabbed his hand luggage and got off the flight. And he was the only one to get off that flight. As I was walking towards the terminal, I realized, I'm not sure if this is Ciudad del Este. He looked at the terminal building, no sign. So then he went to immigration, gave his passport. Is this Ciudad del Este? He asked. And he just shook his head and laughed and stamped his passport and said, go. He didn't say yes or no. So then he saw a sign on the way to the exit. Warning, dengue fever, prominent in this area, transmitted by mosquitoes, found mainly in urban areas and around human dwellings. Take precaution. One more thing to watch out for. And then he went out the door, and nobody was there to meet him. So then he was thinking, maybe it was the next stop, maybe I got off at the wrong stop. So he pulled out his cell phone, no connection. So then 10 or 15 taxi drivers came, and he asked them, is this Ciudad del Este? Some said, sí, yes, and some said, no. So, and then they started trying to take his luggage away. I mean, they pushed him. And then finally, a van pulled up and devotees came. And so then all the taxi drivers disappeared. So, everything okay, said devotee? Maharaj said, couldn't be better, you arrived just in time. So then, how do you like Paraguay? Another devotee asked. He said, so far it's everything I expected. So he said, I was a bit shaken by the incident at the airport, and it was dark, so he couldn't see outside. And then some devotees came, and he lay down in his bed, and it was so hot and so humid, he didn't cover himself until the mosquitoes came. So then he wrapped himself up, preferring to swelter under the covers than risk dengue fever. Little corner of hell, he thought, as he went to sleep. So then he dreamed in his dreams. The taxi drivers kidnapped him and threw him in the back seat. And they sent a letter to ISKCON GBC saying it had 24 hours to pay a ransom of $2 million. And the GBC wrote back that we can't pay because too many temples are in debt. So then as they prepared to kill him, some angels came in the sky and started singing, scaring away the kidnappers. So he woke up. Was it a dream? Of course it was, yes. And devotee came, good morning, Maharaj. Did you sleep well? And Maharaj just said, where's that singing coming from? And they said, oh, there's a Christian school just behind the wall of your room. And all morning the children sing beautiful Christian hymns. He said, bless those little angels, he said. And so then they said they have a program at university 2 programs, but instead of university, it was a grade elementary school and high school combined. So the first class, there were 200 children, 8 to 10 years old, and he was trying to explain the philosophy, but they didn't know English, basically. They were Spanish-speaking. So they were just talking, and then he said, okay, and then he started talking about kindness to animals. Animals have souls. Then he saw a little girl, 9 years old, in the front, listening very intently. So when I said, we should not be cruel to animals, he said, I saw a tear glide down her face. So I decided to direct my talk to her alone. When I said, all creatures are part of one spiritual family, her face lit up. When the recess bell rang, all the other children jumped up and rushed out, but the girl sat still for a moment, reflecting on what she heard. Then she left. Then a group of 300 high school students came. So he asked Maharaj Jagjivan to speak to them in Spanish. And the little girl came back, and she sat up in the front where she was before. And after half an hour, he ended his talk and asked Maharaj to lead kirtan. He said, I jumped at the opportunity. I wanted the little girl to experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness. As I taught the students the mantra, I saw her repeating it carefully, word for word. So then they had a huge kirtan, very ecstatic. They were all jumping and dancing around. And then he went over the time limit, and he stopped, and then they started shouting, more, 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 another hour of kirtan. And so then he looked at the little girl after the kirtan, and she was smiling and radiant. And so Maharaj said, she's yours now, my Lord. Please guide her to your lotus feet. So then she looked at her watch, jumped up, and ran towards the exit. And she stopped, turned around, and smiled at Maharaj, a look of deep appreciation in her eyes, and she was gone. So Maharaj, when the children left, he sat down. He said, my Lord, you can take me to hell anytime if there's persons like that little girl that I can help. And so this is the mood of the devotee. Okay, no problem. You can preach anywhere, even if it's great austerity. I think another time it was, Maharaja's, his experiences talking about flying in the Russian airline. I forgot the name of it. In the early days. Now it's a little bit better, I think. But in the early days, he felt it was like death. You don't know where you're going, and you're kind of uneasy. And the people were kind of mean. But I think now it's probably better. I forgot the name of the airplane. So anyway, so this preaching, this is the mind of the heart of the preacher, that he's always ready to go through austerities to help others. So then verse 45 talks about 2 different types of people. You don't have this verse. So. You have it on your chart, of course. 45. 45. Kripana and Jira. Kripana means a miser, and Jira means a sober person. So Jira, he's a spiritual person, and he knows what is the best way to progress in spiritual life. And so Yamaraj says that you bring me those persons who don't chant, who are attached to worldly enjoyment. You bring me. So Yamadutas are looking for sinful people, and the Vishnu Dutas are looking for devotees to bring back. Recently in Vrindavan, 2 years ago, it was December month, and in Tirupati, one man died, and he was being brought on the stretcher to the crematorium. And all of a sudden, although he was dead, he jumped up from the stretcher and started running. And everyone was scared. Bhoot, there's a ghost. He said, no, it's me, I'm back. And so he ran, and they asked him, what happened? He said, the Yamadutas took me to Yamraj, the messengers of death, took me to Yamraj, Lord of Death. And Yamraj said to them, you got the wrong guy. So they brought me back. But before they left me, they said, if you don't want to see us again, you go to ISKCON and get Bhagavad Gita as it is. Yamadutas told this guy. So he would start running to ISKCON to get the Gita. And so he got the Gita, And he was crying, "Oh, I won't see the Yamadutas again." Yes, everybody should have that Gita, for sure. You don't want to see the Yamadutas. Yeah, so this is, we are the Jiras, we are the devotees who are following the path of Bhakti Yoga. Haribo. Welcome. You can have paper here. Yeah, we're kind of finished, but you can look on the outline, a flip chart outline. We're on the last 5 verses of Prahlada's prayers. In verse 46, it might be on page 2 of your outline. I'm not sure if it's on page 1 or page 2. 46, verse 46. It might be it's on page 2. So 46 is the indirect path. Prahlada talks about it. And he says that there's 10 prescribed methods on the path to liberation. To remain silent, to observe vows, to get Vedic knowledge, to do austerity, study the Vedas, do duties of varnashram, explain the Shastras, stay in a solitary place, chant mantras silently, and be absorbed in trance. These different methods for liberation are generally only a professional practice and means of livelihood for those who have not conquered their senses. Because such persons are falsely proud, these procedures may not be successful. Yeah, so we have the direct path. The indirect path means you go step by step by step by step. I suppose you have to go to 100 floors in a building. Are you going to take the lift, or are you going to go step by step? Well, the step-by-step path will take you many births, many lifetimes. But if you take directly to devotional service, you can do in this one life. You can go back to Godhead. So we do not follow the indirect path, but we follow the direct path back to Godhead. So and then verse 47 is about cause and effect is all-pervading. Again, Krishna is everywhere, and that we can understand that everything is Krishna's energy here in this world. 48 is about Krishna is everything: air, earth, fire, sky, water, life air, 5 senses, mind, consciousness, and false ego. Everything subtle and gross. Material elements and anything expressed by words or mind are nothing but you. So did we leave anything out here? That's everything that we have experienced in this world. It's all Krishna. So then therefore, Prabhupada says the best way to focus on Krishna is deity worship. Or go see the deities in the temple, think of them during the day. But sometimes people, they don't understand that the deities are the same as Krishna. The devotees whose eyes are filled with love, they can see, oh, Krishna is very happy today, he's wearing this, he's wearing that. And so they're very happily seeing Krishna. They're not seeing the stone or the brass. The head pujari in Mayapur, Jananivas, was once asked by a visitor to the temple, what is the deity made of? So Jananivas answered to that person, what is your heart made of? That is what the deity is made of. So if you see stone, you got a stone heart. You see brass, you got a brass heart. And if you see Krishna, you got Krishna in your heart. And so that's the importance of deity worship. Seeing Krishna everywhere, seeing him as the deity. And then verse 49 is about how nobody can understand Krishna. It's very difficult. So that's why we perform devotional service, and then we can actually understand Krishna. So then 50, last verse. Oh my Lord, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. And then he gives some different items of devotional service. It is 6 kinds he gives. Prayers, giving the results of your activities, worshiping you, working for you, remembering your lotus feet, and hearing about your glories. So if you do these things, then you can get what the Paramahansas get. You can get love of Krishna. So conclusion is bhakti, and Shingadev was pacified by the prayers of Prahlada, and he said, ask any benediction. And of course, Prahlada, he didn't ask for, he wanted just to please liberate my father, who tortured him in so many ways. Can you imagine? Just take care of my father. And so, he didn't want anything. He wanted to make Nishingadev happy. He wanted to make Krishna happy. So there is a competition that Krishna wants to give the devotee all opulence, and the devotee doesn't accept it. He wants to give his life and soul to Krishna. He wants to give more to Krishna than Krishna gives to him. So that's the competition that's going on. So the gopis, they gave everything, and they didn't ask anything. They gave their honor, their body, their life. So Krishna said, I can't repay you. I cannot give you anything in return. So Srila Prabhupada says, try to make an arrangement. Krishna won't give you anything, but you give everything to him. So that was the conclusion of the prayers of Prahlada Maharaj. So if you have any questions or comments, you can ask at this time. Yes. Mahavishnu and Shiva, Sadashiva. Sadashiva is half Vishnu, half Shiva. There are deities in Mayapur, Navadvip Dham, of Sadashiva, half Vishnu and half Shiva. There's actually deity like that. So usually he calls him Nada, which is actually Lord Shiva. He calls Advaita Nada. But he's also Mahavishnu. So it's interesting because Vishnu and Lord Shiva are connected at the beginning of creation. So how are they connected is that when Vishnu glances at Durga, inside the glance there's three things. There's Jiva, and there's the karma of the Jiva, and there's Kala, time. And so Shiva is that time. And as soon as he glances, Lord Shiva also expands from him to carry the glance and give it to Durga. Because Vishnu doesn't touch Durga. He doesn't touch the material energy. But in his incarnation as Lord Shiva, he touches. So all the seeds of us, all the seeds are in the glance. All the seeds of living entities. And Lord Shiva, he consorts with Durga and gives the seeds to Durga. And then the whole Mahatattva, everything expands. So he's very connected. Vishnu and Shiva are very connected. And Rama, Lakshmi expands as Durga. So there's Lakshmi and Vishnu. So Vishnu expands as Shiva, carries the glance. And Rama, Lakshmi expands as Durga. And you can read about this in the beginning of Brahma Samhita. It's not the prayers of Brahma, but it's before the prayers, like the first few verses. This is all explained in Brahma Samhita. Yes? Panchatattva. Yeah, Advaita is there. Pardon me? Nitai and Gauranga. Yeah. Yeah. So Advaita Prabhu is incarnation of the different expansions of Krishna, Vishnu expansions. And so he's Mahavishnu and also Lord Shiva. He's both combined. So he takes care of the material world, basically. He's the one who creates. He's the creator. That's Advaita. And so Nitai Gauranga, Gadadhar is Radharani, Rukmini, the internal energy, the female energy is Gadadhar. Radharani, sometimes they say also Lalita, and sometimes they say Rukmini. So all of them are under the same category of internal energy of Krishna. And Shivas is the Jiva, and he is Narada Muni, and he is like us. We are Jivas. So he's the incarnation of the Jiva. So all the energies are there in the Panchatattva. All the energies are there. So it's complete truth. The Panchatattva is the complete truth of the absolute truth. All the energies are there, and all the Vishnus are there too. The Maha. Yes.
Just a follow-up question on that. Shankar, Chakra, Gada, which we see that the Lord holds, are they in any way related to Panchatattva?
No. They are not related to Panchatattva. They're held by Vishnu and Narayani in the spiritual world. These are the weapons, energies of Narayani in the spiritual world. Also Mahavishnu, he holds them, but not related to Panchatattva at all. Yes? Only Prahlada could pacify Nishinga. They're also devotees, Brahma and Shiva, but they couldn't pacify because they were in their role as demigods. I mean, it's true that Lord Shiva has his own sampradaya of bhakti, and so does Lord Brahma. We're in his sampradaya. But when they appeared before Lord Nishingadev, they were in their capacity as demigods. So they were frightened because usually, they, in their meditation, they see a very peaceful, universal form. They don't see him angry like that. They never see the Lord so angry. So they couldn't pacify him. Only Prahlada could pacify because he was the pure devotee among them, even more pure, Shaktivesh avatar. They are guna avatars, so they are incarnations of the modes of nature. But Prahlada was, Prabhupada said, Shaktivesh avatar. And so he was incarnation of a pure devotee. And so he could relate better. Now, of course, when Lord Chaitanya came, then Lord Shiva and Brahma came. I mean, Lord Shiva was Advaita, and Lord Brahma was, they say he was Haridas Thakur, Lord Brahma. So they came when Lord Chaitanya came, they all came. All the demigods came. They were ordered to come and be with Lord Chaitanya. Good. Any other questions on this? One more question, okay? Yamdutas. Yeah, actually headline came, Yamadutas help in Christmas marathon. Help distribute books. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you distribute Gita to people, you don't know who you're distributing to. You don't know how they take it, or if they read it. Okay, so yes, when a book distributor can appreciate the mystic power of Krishna, when people take a book for no reason, even we're not qualified to sell it, but somehow they just take the book. And Krishna is helping, yes. Well, that's what the Yamaduta said. Does that mean anyone who gets a book won't see the Yamadutas? So the answer is yes. Now that's what the Yamadutas say, anyway. So it's good if you have your Gita close to you. Huh? In India, Tirupati. In Tirupati. India, Tirupati, this happened. Yeah, 2 years ago during December. We have our book marathon during December, so it happened during that time. And yeah, so Yamadutas are on our side, and so are the Jesus. One book distributor was going door to door, and he opened the door, and there was one huge life-size picture of Jesus. And the lady came and said, yes, give me your books. I want your books. She said, 3 nights ago, Jesus came to me in a dream and said, when those people come with their spiritual books, you take them. So Jesus is also helping in book distribution. Yeah, everybody in the universe is helping with that. Yeah. Any other questions? Before you read Bhagavad Gita, what was your experience? Oh, Jesus. Jesus was preparing your consciousness for Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you had that experience. Yeah, he's on our side. Definitely. Yes.
Is there any significance why it was Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, or it's not Śrīmad?
Yeah, is there any significance why it was Advaita? Well, the only thing I can understand is that he was the senior most devotee at the time in Navadvip. He was the leader of the devotees. And also because he's, incarnation of Krishna himself and also sub-incarnation, he had a lot more power. He had a lot of power to call Krishna, and to come down. He was the leader of the devotees. He was giving Gita classes, and he was the leader. And so, Lord Chaitanya says, I heard your call. You're calling me here. Yes, and I had to come. Mm-hmm.
The other gods followed by other cultures like Jesus or Allah, for example, how are they related to Krishna?
Jesus himself said, I'm the Son. He says, so he's praying to the Father. He's the Son, and in the Bible it says the only Son, but we know that Krishna had a lot of sons when he came here. So he's not the only one, but for them he was. When he came, he revealed he's a Shaktivish avatar. Prabhupada said Jesus is Shaktivish avatar, and he spoke what the people could understand at the time, and Allah the same thing. So Jesus said, don't have illicit sex. Also, he also said that too, in his commandments, and don't steal, and so that's how the people were. And don't kill. He was also against killing the animals for useless sacrifice. And then Allah, he was preaching, don't sleep with your mother. So what kind of people he was preaching to? A different class. Who would think about that? So they came for a certain type of people at a certain time, and they preached. For those people, yes, Prabhupada accepted Allah and Jesus. But what they taught was very limited, like, elementary or KG or pre-KG even, what they were teaching. And so I understood that because I was Christian also. And then the main commandment of Jesus is you should love everyone with your body, your soul, your mind. Love like that. But they didn't teach us how to do that in the church. But here, that's all we're learning how to do is bhakti yoga, how to love God with your body, your soul, your mind, with everything. You do your business for Krishna, do your job for Krishna, give some donation, give your life to Krishna, and still you can still be in a family and give your life. There it's difficult. Maybe the nuns and the priests, they can do that. They give their life, but outside people can't really do that. But here, everybody can do that. They can sacrifice for Krishna. So it's much more open, and yes, and we're accepting people. Anybody who's honest from any religion, they will accept Krishna consciousness. It's just a higher level of knowledge, And Jesus taught the same thing. When a prostitute took shelter of him, he said, "Okay, I will save you, but don't sin anymore." So they lost that part of the Bible, I think. I don't know if they covered it, but they sin, and then they ask for something to do. I sinned, so I have to chant so many rosaries or whatever they tell them to do. I don't know the Catholic Church. But they sin every week, and they go back and said, oh, and it's not like that. We follow the 4 regular principles for life. For life. Not that, we go back and sin again. So it's a whole nother level of spiritual life than most of the religions of the world there. Most of them are cheating. They compromise between material life and spiritual life. And even the yoga, too, they compromise. The one I went to before Krishna consciousness, you didn't have to be vegetarian. You could eat meat, whatever. Just chant the mantra, morning and night. You have to pay for that mantra, too. They don't have rules like Prabhupada has. They don't have the rules and regulations. That's real yoga. Real yogis, they have to follow these rules. And, Okay, any other? Yeah. Yes. Exactly, that's true. In the Muslims, they also chant something on there. They have beads too, and the Catholics have beads. The only Protestants where I was, we didn't have beads. But it's in the Bible. I had to memorize the verse about chanting the name of the Lord with symbols. What they didn't do that. I mean, we were singing hymns and things, but we weren't. We did like Sankirtan during Christmas. We would go out and sing on the streets. I don't know if they still do that, but that was 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. I'm getting older. Hare Krishna. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's described in Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 20th chapter, that you should meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord. You should meditate on the eyebrows if you want to get rid of lust. If you want to get rid of grief or lamentation, you meditate on the smile. And it dries up the ocean of tears. That's chapter 28, 328, I forget the verse number. 32? Oh, thank you. Verse 32. Yeah, that's what the yogis, they meditate on the eyebrows. Yes, you need to make a relationship with Krishna. We have one, but it's covered. So, of course, chanting is our way to do that, but deity worship is also a way to do that, too. But it's not you don't have to increase it, but do better quality of deity worship. Think, oh, this is Krishna. He's my friend. At least you can have him as your friend. You don't know what else he is yet. He could be your son. He could be your lover. He is your friend. That we know. That much. Super soul in the heart. He's our friend. He says in Gita, Suhridam. I am the friend of everyone. So you can take that 529 that is in Gita. That okay, he's my friend. Let me make friendship with him. And I'll talk more about that actually tomorrow morning in class. How to have a relationship with Krishna. How Prabhupada says what we should do to have a relationship with Krishna. Yes?
I'm not sure you may have covered it in earlier classes,
Mm-hmm.
but how did you become a disciple of Prabhupada?
I did not cover that in previous classes. How did I become a disciple of Srila Prabhupada? I think Prabhupada tricked me. That's all I can say. Because I was coming to temple for 3 months. And my husband was coming, but he was not so interested. So I wasn't thinking, I'll just join, But then Prabhupada called and said he's going to come for the weekend to Boston Temple. And the devotee said, why don't you stay the weekend and see Prabhupada? So I stayed, and Prabhupada didn't come, but he sent 4 sannyasis instead. And one of those sannyasis was Vishnujan Maharaj, Kirtaniya. So I went on Harinam day and night, Saturday and Sunday with him. And after that, I said, I'm so happy, why should I go back home? And not only me, but 4 or 5 other devotees never went home that week. I went home, said goodbye to my husband, and joined. My husband joined 2 months later, because, he was a hippie, and his philosophy was, I won't work. Now, I was working, so we had a little money. Now, after I left, he couldn't, and so he could join because devotees didn't work. We just were dancing and singing whole day on Harinam. That's all we did. We were all living in the temple, Grihastas and Brahmacharis together, and we all following the same rules. We didn't. And so that's how I felt like Prabhupada gave me that push I needed to take the next step. Because I was actually searching for a guru, and I was trying different gurus. And then I met the devotees, and I accepted, yes, Prabhupada is my guru, but I wasn't ready to give up everything. Like in those days, you had to give up everything and join the temple. That you have anything, any possession, it goes to the temple. Any money goes to the temple. We had nothing. So I wasn't quite ready for that, but then Prabhupada pushed me, and I took that next step and joined the temple in Boston. Okay, any other questions? Yes? He pushed me by saying he's going to come. Prabhupada said he was going to come to Boston Temple. And just from that, I stayed at the temple overnight for a weekend. That's how I was pushed. And once I stayed there, I said, oh yeah, this is where I belong. I understood. Yeah, it just needed that little push. He didn't even come. He just said he's coming, and that was enough. For not only myself. He tricked me. Very tricky. He didn't come. Yeah, just like Brahmana he tricked Bali. So Prabhupada did say he tricked us into joining Krishna consciousness. Yeah. He tricked us. He tricked us. He tricked me into joining. Yeah, because I knew this is the truth and he's my guru, but I wasn't ready to give up everything, which is what you had to do in the 70s. If you want to be a devotee, if you live outside, you're in Maya. Now everybody lives outside. So, it's different. It was different in those days. You had to give up everything to be a devotee. Not everybody's ready for that. Really, yeah. Yeah, he took me to experience the temple, and I was so happy. And I said, oh yeah, it's where I belong. Why should I go back home? I did. I went and said goodbye. And then I joined. Then he joined also. So we basically together we joined. Yes. Vishnujan Swami. It was like he's like he's very charismatic, and he was very loving. He didn't see like, oh, you're a man, you're a woman, or anything like that. He didn't see any differences. He was very much on the spiritual level. So we felt like we were in the spiritual world with him when he was around. We just loved the chanting and dancing, and we were happy. That's all I need to do rest of my life is chant and dance. Now I can't dance, but I still chant. Still chanting. I can't quite dance. I change a body there. But yeah. You felt like, and with Prabhupada also, you feel like this is where I belong. First time I met Prabhupada was at airport in Florida, and then I was following behind him, and first time in my life I said, this is where I belong. I can follow him rest of my life. I'm secure, I'm protected, and I'm home. I'm back really home with Prabhupada. With the deities also, you feel that too. I felt that. when I was taking care of Radha Krishna in Calcutta Temple. I felt that. Yes? No, you don't. Now it's different. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow's class also. There's 4 categories of things you have to give up. Like Bali Maharaj, he gave everything. And that's number 1. And then there's number 2, 3, and 4. So you stay tuned to tomorrow's class, and you'll hear 1, 2, 3, and 4, what you can give up for Krishna. And you can choose which one you want to do. Yeah, there's something for everyone. Yes? Yeah, well, in one sense, it's correct that, we were Westerners and we were breaking all the rules. So it was easier for us than a lot of Indians because, if you tell an Indian it's Krishna, no, what about Ganesh? What about Shiva? What about this one? And we thought, yeah, it's Krishna. He's got long hair, like the hippies. And he's just dancing and singing, and he's a musician. We were musicians, playing his flute, and he's got a lot of girlfriends. So we thought, yeah, why not Krishna? And he's beautiful. The other demigods aren't so beautiful like Krishna. We didn't even know about the other demigods. We didn't even know about Krishna, but Prabhupada told us Krishna. So it was easy for us. And he couldn't do it in India. He tried, and he couldn't start his movement there. So he came to America, and we were ready. We already kind of renounced our parents' materialistic life. We had our own materialistic life, but we believe in revolution. And Prabhupada, the first verse in the beginning of Bhagavatam, this is a revolution for the whole world. For the spiritual life, we will change the consciousness. So I understood, yes, because I could see that, this hippie movement, it's the same as what our parents are doing. What's the difference? They just want to get control and enjoy. But it's not a different thing. But Prabhupada had a whole different goal, a spiritual goal. Spiritual revolution. We were revolutionaries, all of us, in those days. We believe in revolution. Yeah, spiritual revolution. And so we were very excited about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, full-time service is more spiritually joyful from your experience. Going out in Harinam and distributing books all day. Wow. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, so your experience of 3 months of ashram life was very joyful, and you didn't want to go back, but you had to go back to your material life. Okay. Yeah, it's good to, they have training, and now in Bhaktivedanta Manor, I think there is training for boys and girls both, men and women both. You can get 3 months training, and then you can go back to your miserable life. It doesn't have to be miserable if you're Krishna conscious. You can do service for Krishna even if you're working outside. You can go for the Bhakti Vrikshas, and you can do service when you have time on the weekends. So you can still go on even living outside and working. Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as you're in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, when you're surrounded by people who are engaged, so that's how we were. Mangalarti, we were up dancing, and We were dancing the whole day, and we didn't get tired of dancing. If prasadam was late, there were 65 of us in the temple. And what would we do when we were waiting for prasad? We would sing and dance. We didn't stop, We were so happy singing and dancing. That's what we like to do. And that was our pleasure, our joy. Okay, you have a question? Bali. Yeah. Yeah. No. That's Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva. He wanted a kingdom. Well, not if you're doing bhakti. So he became a devotee. So he ruled as a Vaishnava. And as a Vaishnava, it's not, you don't have to neutralize. But it's, in order for us to understand, Bhagavatam is for everyone. So his pastime is for somebody who wants material things. So they understand, but they don't want to neutralize their pious. They don't want to get rid of them. They would like to enjoy their pious. So don't worry, you will get your pious results as well as, and you don't have to suffer the negative ones. Because that pastime is what happens if you worship Krishna and you have material desires. So don't worry, you won't lose out. Even if you have material desires, you will get your material desires. And at the same time, you will get better than that. Go back to Godhead. He went back to Godhead. And he got a spiritual kingdom to rule, Juvaloka. No, they do. They do with bhakti. Yeah, with bhakti. He was a Vaishnava. So that's how they got neutralized. It's not exactly by enjoying or suffering. People think, no, we have to suffer. I have to get married, so I have to suffer because I have to suffer. I have to enjoy my... Yeah. So automatically, he neutralized the pious. And our sinful activities, our reactions are being neutralized by chanting, by going to Mangalarti, by hearing class. It's all being neutralized. Hare Krishna. Why do some people have an easy way and some people have a hard way? Well, part of it is what you did in your past life. You're just picking up from where you left off. So and that's also Gita says, some people are born in rich families, pious families. So that means, they're beginning spiritual life. But those who got some success in their previous life, they become born in devotee families. And so then they can start from birth. But others, they have to, they're also attracted. Also rich families, pious Brahmin families, pious families. It's good. They have rich families. Rich families may not. Alfred Ford was lucky that he got attracted. He's from a rich family, but the odds are against it if you're in a rich family. Because you did some service last life, but you were not successful. So this life you can continue where you left off. And that's why some of us, we can go immediately and give up everything, and some of us have to go through some material life before you give up everything. So yeah, it's generally it's from previous life. You pick up where you leave off. You pick up from where you left off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you look at the pole star. Yes. Yeah, he's there further until the end of creation. Now Brahma is half of Brahma's life, so another 50 of Brahma's years. So out of 311 trillion something years, half of that, 175 trillion more years, he will rule. But in the eternal world, there's no time. So you're not conscious of the time there. You're only in the present. It's part of the spiritual world, but we can see it from here. It's in this world, so we can see it, but it's spiritual. Yeah, and that's why all the stars, all the planets go around. They're circumambulating that spiritual planet. All the planets, all the stars are going around the pole star.
And just a follow-up question. Lord Shiva lives in Kailash. Is
Kailash.
Part of material world or spiritual world?
Material world. Yeah, he lives in different places. That's one place. He lives in Kailash. He also lives in the border between material and spiritual world. And you can go there by worshiping him, or it's something you do. You can go to his Shiva Loka. Yeah. He's in between. He's in between. Yeah. In one sense. You might get stuck there. Not exactly the doorway. Haridwar is the doorway. Yeah. It's not a permanent situation in Shivaloka. It's, yeah. Even in the Brahman, it's not permanent. So what to speak of Shivaloka between the Brahman and here? Mm-hmm. Reciprocation with the deities. What is my reciprocation with the deities? Mm-hmm. Okay. There's an easy one that when I was a pujari in Calcutta, then our temple president used to take pictures of the deities and show them to the Indian people to become life members. They would see our deities, they would become a life member of ISKCON. So one time he took a picture, and then he took another picture after 2 minutes. And then he looked at the picture, he said, hey, they changed, they're different. And so that was my experience. I would be sitting in front of them for hours, and I could see them changing their expressions from second to second, minute to minute. So that was part of it. That I was 20 hours doing seva every day, 24/7. Yeah, I would sleep 4 hours and do seva 20 hours. Wake up at 2:30, sleep at 10:30. I would wake them up, dress them, and then buy all the flowers during Sringar and decorate with all the flowers. And we had so many flowers, one man was donating 50 garlands a day. So I would change the flowers 5 times a day. And I was buying 144 lotuses, 144 roses, and also decorating every day. So, yeah, part of that reciprocation is to see their expressions on their faces, happy and different expressions. That was part of it. That's part of it. And then I would dream about them sometimes. And one time I was in Bombay, and I dressed Radharani there when Prabhupada was there. So then I had a dream at night where the deities came off the altar and they were just enjoying. But it was time for Shringar, and I said, you got to get back up. They're not going to understand. Get back up on the altar. The dream. Anyway, stuff like that. You got to get back. It's almost time for Shringar Harti. Anyway, yeah. That's being a pujari. Yeah. It was Radha Krishna. That was who I was. Sometimes I would go on train rides and I would dream of them. Yeah, on the train also. Yeah. Yeah, my Radha Krishna were young. Prabhupada told one artist, there was an artist, Vishnu, he said, go get a picture of the deities. I want you to paint them like that, very young. So they in my vision, they were about 11 years old. Like, just not quite mature yet, almost mature, starting maturity. Kaishor. Kaishor age begins at 11 to 15. So that was how I saw them. And Prabhupada liked that. He said, you should paint them young. You paint them young. And we see some pictures in India, they're not very nice. Like Bollywood or something. Don't want to see Radha Krishna like that. Okay? We'll stop here. Glory to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Tuesday Harinam. Yeah, Tuesday Harinam. Yeah, we're going on Tuesday. For Harinam.